Welcome to the MindShareTV podcast. I'm your host, Robert Marlacci, and here for another edition of MindShareTV, where we engage in meaningful conversations with leaders, innovators, and visionaries shaping the future of education. Today, I'm honored to welcome Lisa Schmucki, founder and CEO of EdWeb.net, one of the world's most respected professional learning communities for educators. For more than 2 decades, Lisa has championed high quality, accessible professional learning by connecting educators through engaging webinars, collaborative communities, and thought leadership. Under her visionary leadership, EdWeb has become a trusted destination for hundreds of thousands of educators seeking to stay ahead of emerging trends and best practices. Most recently, EdWeb received one of the education industry's highest honors, the 2026 CODiE Award for Best Educational Professional Development Solution, recognizing its outstanding contribution to educator professional learning and innovation. Lisa, congratulations on this incredible
Thank you,
achievement,
Robert.
and welcome to MindShare TV.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the invitation to come on and chat with you for a few minutes about professional learning, AI, and whatever else is on our mind.
What an honor, and what a tremendous accomplishment. What does this recognition mean to you, your incredible team, and the global community of educators who rely on EdWeb every day, including Canada and Canadian educators, as
I know.
we are
We have a
one of the
million
largest segments?
a
Yeah,
million members around the world.
remarkable.
Winning the CODiE Award this year just really means a lot because, we have, been recognized by the CODiEs as a finalist or as a winner, like from the earliest days of, almost 20 years ago. But, I think to be able to continue growing and sustaining at the highest level over a long period of time is a really hard thing to do. And so I think the competition is greater than ever because we know how important, high quality professional learning is, because we know that's how we impact teaching and learning in the greatest way. And so it really is an honor. And as we were talking earlier, it comes right at the time when we've just launched a new series of essentially professional learning intelligence reports, because we're gathering data from educators that are reflections about their learning on EdWeb at a scale that's unprecedented. And also at the time, I know you have a new book on AI, so I know it's very timely for you.
Thank you for the little plug.
But we now have the tools to be able to analyze an unprecedented amount of data. So it's pretty incredible how things are coming
Very
together.
cool. Hence, we're sharing our screen here on your recent
Yes.
report.
Yes.
You founded EdWeb long before virtual professional learning became the norm, a thing. What inspired you to create the platform for the benefit of our younger generation and future entrepreneurs? Talk to me about the milestones in building one of education's most influential professional learning communities, and it was truly a problem-solving exercise, no doubt.
Well, it's really interesting that you asked that question, because the idea came about when social media came about for the first time, when Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook, and my daughter showed it to me over almost 20 years ago. And I immediately, and at that point, that was created by students for students.
Correct.
And so, I immediately said, we have to help teachers understand this technology that students are exploring and using. So we created a professional social network. And now what's interesting is we're doing professional learning on a social networking platform. And now people do know what those platforms are like and how they work. So that eases people using it, because, you have your homepage and you join groups and you get notifications and have a feed and all those things. But now we're on the verge of AI. And AI isn't being created by students, but it is going to have the biggest impact on students of anything that has
Absolutely.
impacted education.
and we're grateful of our partnership. And we, incidentally, speaking of AI, 100 days to go today to our 17th Canadian EdTech AI Leadership Summit, which
Yeah,
uh,
great.
presented many times, and hope to have you back again as a partner this year. We are planning to
Absolutely.
partner.
Ray told you we're
And
in. We're a partner and
yes,
sponsor.
although
Yep.
you might have a problem getting there. So, but fully understand you can't be everywhere. But EdWeb is virtually everywhere in K-12 education. Talk to me about this recent report that I'm sharing on my screen, spotlighting EdTech and AI. You have an immense amount of data which you've aggregated over your some 20 plus years.
Yeah, and for all the years I was kind of always a data geek anyway. So when we started it, we were always collecting all the data on who the members are, what they've registered for, programs that I've attended, categorizing the programs by topic and category and professional learning interest. So we've always had that quantitative data. But what changed was last fall, somebody said to me, they asked me, how do you know it works?
Wow,
And
that's a powerful question.
it was a really, really important question. And we are working with more school districts and schools and even colleges of education who are using EdWeb as a supplemental resource for their staff. And when they use it, they've used all the tools we've always provided to ensure that the work is done thoroughly. So we provide the minutes somebody watched a program, an assessment quiz, and a reflection professional learning plan. We never required that, but we were seeing it be required more and more by some of our users. So as of January 1st, we announced that the criteria to earn a certificate, a continuing education
Mhm.
certificate, was going to require that we can track the minutes, they pass a quiz, and they complete the plan. And I'll tell you, Robert, we sent out a huge email and didn't get hardly any complaints. We had a couple questions back, and the transition. So all of this is free for educators. They get
Right.
their certificates from us. They can engage in any of the learning. And when we explain that we need to ensure the work is being done with fidelity, to keep our approvals, to expand our approvals, they've just been doing this. So this is our semi half year report on that requirement, which began January 1st, and 56,000 educators have completed
Wow.
420,000 plans on 4,000 topic programs and hundreds of topics.
Well, on that
So
note, I was going to
yeah.
ask you on that note, talk to me about the biggest shifts happening in professional learning. How are educators adapting to meet the changing needs of today's learning, especially in the age of AI?
Well, I would say at this point in time, this is 6 months of data. So we're taking a snapshot, very in depth on where they are right now. And the amazing thing is, by the end of this year, we're going to have 1 million plans. By the end of next year, we're going to have 2 million. By the end of the next year, we're going to have 3 million. And so the ability to then see trends over
Hmm.
time that go very deep and on any subject is pretty amazing.
Well, I'm looking at the top 10 impacts on educator practice here that I'm screen sharing. Isn't technology wonderful? I mean, we can be doing this, 10 years ago. It's interesting. In my book, I talk about the fact that when I started my career in sport information, and we all started somewhere else, you were in accounting, I understand, initially
Yeah.
after
Yes.
Princeton.
We share
Uh,
that.
that's right. So, you know, uh, the internet didn't exist. EdTech didn't exist. Computers, I didn't have a computer on my desk when I started my career as a sport information director, believe it or not.
Mhm.
And that was, in essence, a revolution. And here we are again. History does repeat itself in different ways.
Yeah.
Harnessing that growth mindset, innovators mindset, if you will, is something I talk about in the book. And you live it every day, in pivoting and adapting. And here's, the top 10 impacts that I'm looking at in terms of upskilling and reskilling, and some of the challenges that educators face today and dealing with the evolving classroom.
Well, and the next spread there is also the top 10 impacts that their practice has on their students.
Wow.
And so we know that that's, ultimately where, why we do this, right, is to help our
Hmm.
students and to have the impact on students. And I've been saying to people, this is like a growing magic 8 ball. The 8 ball, ask the question and it comes up and, gives you the answer. But we can go into this data now and ask it questions, about any topic. And so this issue does a spotlight on educator reflections on EdTech and reflections on AI, because it's a little insane that at a time when we're talking about a technology that's going to change the world more than anything else, we're experiencing a backlash in a number of areas to take screens away, to go back to print. And not that things don't need to be managed appropriately, and this report shows what the concerns are, but the benefits so outweigh the concerns, and we have to manage the concerns. I mean, we shouldn't
Well
be
said.
so right. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of kind of crazy irony about what's happening right now.
Well, so true. And I just interviewed a professor the other day on Dr. Camacho on this topic. And how can the EdTech community better demonstrate impact, build trust with educators and families, and ensure technology truly improves teaching and learning? You work with many of the top education technology companies, and they really need to deliver on their promise, as you do and we try to every day.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe we can help kind of get a mass movement going out there,
Mhm.
because we've been sharing this data with our sponsors and partners, beginning to show it to them. We've had 500 of them. So we've been able to build our archives and continue to host 400 live presentations a year, give to them. But we're going to share this data with them for their programs. And so it will shine a light on how, if they're using technology in the course of what they're doing, how it's benefiting, so we can expand the number of voices and the number of organizations that have access to this data, to really make sure that we're making decisions that are based on the evidence.
Hence, incredibly valuable as we're talking the top 10 impacts of edtech on educators. So,
Right.
uh, the edtech sector should be paying attention, especially to this conversation we're having today, and
Yes.
leverage your data. And I'm so pleased to be sharing it because we are on notice as
Yeah.
an industry, and we really need to be mindful of uh, reading the room and doing all we can to make an impact. And it's about addressing the concerns head on, as we are at our summit. Um, and and there are great things happening, but you know like in any period of time, I hearken back to the Gardner hype cycle, right? So it's all about keeping perspective on uh, delivering on the promise. And right now, we had this huge growth of excitement around edtech and AI, and then you have that drop, right? That sudden
Mhm.
realization, hey, it's not all peaches and cream, and there's
Mhm.
going to be a bit of a shakeup, right?
Mhm.
And that's what
Yeah.
the Gardner hype cycle addresses. So um, any thoughts on that, and where things are evolving to next?
Well, I kind of like, one of the things that we've been able to do is, as you, when you asked about trends, is begin to see some of that evolving. So I love here on some of the insights moving forward
Yeah,
that we're beginning to move out of sort of a panic mode
right.
around AI into some more focused transition, and how we're going to implement some of these tools. Um, but there's so many issues. And there's also, I mean, I get a lot of concern. I have a lot of concern too, because I think a lot of the backlash is also related to the impact of consumer social media sites
Right.
on young people that are intentionally distracting and addictive, for those students. And
Right.
that's a different problem
Right.
than education technology that's being developed specifically for the purpose of helping students learn. So and the companies who build those algorithms and those tools need to accept greater responsibility for using them for good and not just for addiction.
To your point, I've thought about the theme of our summit being tweaked to say, call it AI, leveraging AI for good, you know, to just keep it really simple as a tagline
Right.
for our summit. What do you think
Mhm.
about that?
Well, I think that's what we need to do.
Right?
Very much so. And, we were talking a little bit before we went on air.
Yeah.
I just love that the overriding takeaway from the analysis that we've done on educator reflections on AI is that, and I'm going to go one more page here to find it, which is that AI is not replacing the teacher, it's amplifying the teacher.
Right. I
And
love
that it
that.
handles the cognitive heavy lifting of content generation so educators can focus entirely on the relational, social, emotional, and deeply human aspects of teaching, which is really the fundamental reason why people go into teaching.
What's also cool, thank you for that, is looking at the top 10 webinars, it's on early literacy and skills, and then it's on, you know, health and related
Mhm.
to positive strategies to support readers, and then knowledge building pre-K. So it's not even, the top webinars aren't, it's not all about AI. You're not all in on AI, as we're not, and we really need a balanced approach, and that's, it's about the skills, harnessing the skills that AI can't replace, is what I
Mhm.
talk about in our book, and I think that you're very much on point. Kudos to you for the awesome award from CODiE. I want to win one of those one day, but timing's everything.
Well,
And
they are doing leadership awards this fall, Robert.
oh, really? Okay. Well,
Yeah, they're doing
perhaps
CODiE Leadership Awards. I think September is the deadline for submitting that. So,
very, very cool. So let's talk about a call to action. If you could leave school leaders, policymakers, educators, and tech innovators with one message about preparing for the future of education, what would that look like?
that's difficult. But I think one of the things that I feel is happening is that for some reason we are more siloed now
Hmm.
than ever around a technology is the most advanced technology than ever. Now, in the United States, some of that is happening because of the dismantling of the Department of Education, and the different states are all going more their own way and being left to figure things out on their own. But I think the call has to be that we have to find ways to work together, to come together, to share information and collaborate. Because if we don't do that, we all won't benefit as a community on what will help everyone.
With that, Lisa Schmucki, congratulations once again on receiving the 2026 CODiE Award for Best Educational Professional Development Solution. Thank you for your visionary leadership and your
Thank you,
unwavering
Robert.
commitment to empowering educators through world-class professional learning. At Mindshare Learning, we've been proud to partner with EdWeb over the years and have witnessed firsthand the impact your community continues to make across North America and around the world. Thank you for joining us, for sharing your insights, professional learning, education technology, and the future of AI in education. And thank you to everyone watching and listening.
And thank you to all the educators. The educators themselves are the heroes. Every
Absolutely.
They really
Absolutely.
are. And we can't do any of what we do without educators.
Well said. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe to Mindshare TV, share and reshare, and tag us. Share this with your this episode with your colleagues, and join the conversation on LinkedIn. My name is Robert Merdlanchi of the Mindshare Learning Port, and until next time, keep the learning curve steep.